I'm like, right now, I'm like, I should be reading it. It's so good. Okay, so I can't read it without crying. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Courtney. I'm a homeschool mom to 2 boys. I have a almost 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And while normally on this channel, we're talking about a lot of homeschool stuff, maybe some motherhood, and usually some stuff about books. In this video, we are gonna talk about books. So the books that I wanted to talk about in this video are gonna be from a Christian viewpoint or a Christian standpoint, particularly on some of the more difficult or challenging topics that we come across in our culture currently today, and it can be really distressing on how to biblically stand on the truth because it tends to be very fueled, and of course we know who it is originally fueled by, but it can be a very distressing topic to talk about with anyone, whether they're a Christian or not. I've even found that some Christians don't know where to stand on this topic because it is so fueled. And so while I believe that the Bible is very clear on this, and thus as Christians we should have a very clear standpoint, I think these books are amazing and are life-changing, life-impacting on how and why we should take a stand with what the Bible says is the correct way to stand. So the first one that I wanted to talk about is just kind of like an entry into this topic of, as Christians, we are going to be different. We are going to be in the minority when it comes to the viewpoint on these cultural, very fueled topics and issues in the culture. And so the most common topic, of course, or the issue is going to be abortion. That's going to be the number one that we are going to be in the minority for, and the one that is fueled the most. But of course we can fill in all of the other ones that we are going to be in the minority for because of what the Bible stance is on that, and as Christians we stand with the Bible and with Scripture. So I absolutely love Natasha Crain, and I love her as an author. I love her as an apologist, and she does a wonderful job in her books, especially with books that are educating with our children, and I have those in a separate video recommendation. But the one she has for this video, I would say that fits, is called Faithfully Different: Regaining Biblical Clarity in a Secular Culture. So the description of this one is going to be, in an increasingly secular society, those who have a biblical worldview are now a shrinking minority. As mainstream culture grows more hostile toward the Bible's truths and those who embrace them, you will face mounting pressures from family, friends, media, academia, and government to change and even abandon your beliefs. But these challenges also create abundant opportunities to stand strong for Christ and shine light to those hurt by the darkness of our day. And so I read this book actually a couple weeks ago. I listened to it through my Libby app on my phone, and I was so impacted by it. It will definitely be a reread. I have found it just seems very dark right now in our world as a Christian, and though I stay home and I homeschool my children, I'm not working in an environment that would be hostile to my Christian belief because I'm a homeschooling mom who stays at home. But this book just made me realize, like, even as I stay home and I homeschool my children, I can feel just how dark it is out there. Even just like when I go to appointments and things like that, and having toddlers who talk about Jesus and you can just feel how thick it is and how dark. And so this book just really made me feel like I can't even imagine how people in, let alone other countries, right? Especially where, Christians are being persecuted, but just in America, even in Europe, where we have Christians who are going to jobs where it's almost hostile and you can't even talk about certain things. Whether you're a teacher or you work in the medical industry, I just can't even imagine. And so this book definitely opened up to that. And even if you are currently in college as a Christian, because, even though college anymore is very hostile to our Christian foundation, we as Christians can do great things by becoming lawyers and doctors, and we need that in our world. And yet college is so hard for us as Christians because they are promoting such a atheistic and secular society and humanistic religions. And sadly, a lot of college students are abandoning their faith. And so this book, I think, is a wonderful read, particularly if you have kids who are going into college or going into high school. Even they should probably listen to it. I think regardless, even as a stay-at-home mom, I got so much out of this book. So I definitely recommend that one. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is going to be Unplanned, and this is by Abby Johnson. And this book is, I'm actually reading it. I'm reading it on my Libby app, and it's not an audiobook, but I'm actually reading it. And I'm like 70% done, and I will tell you what, I literally can't stop reading it. It is such a page turner. I need to figure out what is going to happen. She is a great writer. I have followed Abby on, I think, Instagram for quite a while, and I never really fully knew her background, and so I stumbled upon this book and I was like, oh my gosh, I follow her on Instagram. And like I said, her story is amazing. I haven't even finished the book, but I was like, I have to put this in this video. Has made such an impact on my life. And again, I don't relate to Abby in any way of what she has gone through and what she has done, but I think all Christians to some extent can just relate to her battle as a Christian, and knowing something's not right with the decisions I'm making and the choices I've made and the life that I'm living, the job I'm working at. And we can all to some extent just relate with Abby so much and her story. And like I said, she gives such an amazing witness to what is going on in the abortion realm. And like I said, when I just first opened it, I was like, oh my gosh. And I read the first few pages, like, I'm not going to be able to read this. It's so distressing. And then I was like, no, I need to. And like I said, I'm 70% through, and it is so powerful. It's made such an impact. I'm like, everyone needs to read this. And I'm going to go ahead and just read the description for you guys. So the full title is Unplanned, the dramatic true story of a former Planned Parenthood leader's eye-opening journey across the lifeline. And exactly that. It is so sorry, my kids are having quiet time. My son's playing with Transformers, and it is so eye-opening, and it's like all the emotions. It is so impactful, and I cannot stop reading it. Okay, so this is the description of the book. Abby Johnson quits her job in October 2009. That simple act became a national news story because Abby was the director of a Planned Parenthood clinic in Texas who, after participating in an actual abortion procedure for the first time, walked down the street to join Coalition for Life. Unplanned is a heart-stopping personal drama of life and death, encounters a courtroom battle and spiritual transformation that speaks hope and compassion into the political controversy that surrounds this issue, telling Abby's story from both sides of the abortion clinic property line. This book is a must-read for anyone who cares about life versus rights debate and helping women who face crisis in pregnancy. So it's just an amazing book. And so while I think every Christian should read it, whether you're a man or a woman, this book is just so impactful. And I think it is a wonderful book to recommend to people regardless of where their stance is. I mean, I think it would be very bold to recommend it to somebody who holds to a pro-choice view, but I think it is definitely a book that would create conversation in a non-confrontational way. And I have gotten that vibe from the book so well, is that you see that battle going on with Abby of like, she wants to help people and women who are in crisis from that standpoint of Planned Parenthood, but she also totally understands and is just like struggling with that pro-life Christian value of it's a human being. And when you read it, like I said, it's not super confrontational one way or the other, but it's so moving and so emotional in how she is dealing with it. So highly recommend that one. I can't wait to finish it. I'm like, right now, I'm like, I should be reading it. It's so good. Okay, so the last one that I wanted to talk about, this one is so amazing. It is, I can't read it without crying. And that is going to be If I Could Speak. And it's Letters from the Womb by Mark Jones. And the back says, Dear Mommy. So begins a correspondence from an unborn baby to her mother, making an impassioned plea to her mother to not abort her. She shares her hopes and fears with a woman who can control whether she lives or dies. These letters are an appeal to all who read them to choose life. And so this one obviously is a little bit more confrontational than unplanned, but this is one that everyone should read, and it should be required that everyone reads this. You know, this is going to be one that my children, my boys, as homeschooled, will read this because it's so impactful, it's so emotional, and the letters from the womb is just another way to understand why we need to fight for life. And again, I don't think you can read it without crying, but it's absolutely beautiful. It has illustrations in it as well, and a short letter. And then you can see, I mean, it's just gorgeous. And so this is one that I recommend to everyone. It's a wonderful gift to give to anyone. Like I said, a little bit more confrontational than Abby Johnson's book. So I did want to mention the chapter headings real quick. I'm going to read them off of my phone. So these are the chapters. I can hear your voice. I would make you happy. You and Daddy put me here. I would like a name. You were here once. I will take care of you one day. Happy Father's Day. Your freedom and mine. God was here once. I'd rather be adopted than aborted. I wish I were a baby eagle. Mommy, I'm scared. There's forgiveness. Mommy's letter to Zoe, Zoe's letter, and then I miss you. And so this one, again, you're gonna cry. I am almost crying right now. It is so much. And I know this sounds odd, but I actually saw this recommended when I was pregnant. And so if you've ever been pregnant, right? So I ordered this, and of course I started reading it, and so emotional. I have a baby in me, and at that time, my baby, I could feel him. You know, it was my second pregnancy, and I could feel him moving as I was reading this. And of course, being pregnant as well, I was just like, I was bawling. And you know, you just wonder if people could see it from this viewpoint of letters from the baby in there, regardless of how far along they are, would it change their mind? So absolutely recommend. This is a wonderful, I would say, a resource to have on your shelf. Buy them, hand them out, give them to anyone, buy them, and share the letters. I mean, it's amazing. These 3 books, very quick video. These were 3 books that I have just recently felt the need that, hey, we live in a very dark world right now as Christians, being in the minority, and yet we need to stand strong in what God would have us to stand strong on. Even if these issues are very fueled and very divisive, we need to stand strong, no matter if it's as a stay-at-home mom who homeschools her kids, or whether you are in the battle as a teacher in public school, or maybe you work in the government, or maybe you're a college student. Natasha Crane's book is wonderful. Definitely recommend that to everyone, whether you're a parent of somebody who's going to college, or whether you're a high schooler getting ready to go to college, and how important it is to stand strong in our beliefs. And as well as Abby Johnson's book, as well as Mark Jones. And those books, the abortion industry just I don't know how that is ever going to be changed, the viewpoints on a pro-choice stance compared to pro-life. But I think reading a less confrontational book like Abby Johnson's and sharing that one would be a wonderful start. And even if you're just a Christian and you don't have anyone you can share it with, it's just, I think, a way to understand our stance a little bit more. And then Mark Jones, if you are bold out there, this is a wonderful book to share with anyone who holds a pro-choice view. And I think it's just a wonderful resource to have on your shelf as a Christian who is standing for pro-life. So thank you for watching this video. I would love for you guys to comment down below. I will heavily monitor the comments, but please comment down below. Share any books that you have on some of these very divisive and cultural hot topics as we stand as Christians as a minority in this world, and give us some recommendations down below. All right, guys, and I would love if you would like and subscribe. That tells me that you enjoyed this video and these wonderful book resource recommendations, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.